जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्तवृंद ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं साधुतं हरिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं स्व हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे ओम शुभदाय कृष्ण विस्तारितने प्रभुपाद श्री गिरिराजाय स्वामी सुभद्रादास बिहारी नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण विस्तारितने श्री भक्ति स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्री गुरु दीनतारिणम्। So we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are on chapter 10, text 91. So this is the section describing the different branches of the Chaitanya tree, meaning the different spiritual masters, the leaders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's group. So Mahaprabhu has so many groups. So we are now on the sixth group. Mahaprabhura Priya Brit Raghunath Das Sarvatyaji Kaila Prabhura Padartha Levas Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, the 46th branch of the tree, was one of the most dear servants of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He left all his material possessions to surrender completely unto the Lord and live at his lotus feet. So it's like every whichever name is taken is most dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? Each and every one is most dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So everybody knows Raghunath Das Goswami was very, very special, extremely special. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has in his Anubhasya. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was most probably born in the year 16 Shakabda, AD 1404. So that's the 15th century. In a Kayastha family are the son of Govardhan Majumdar, who was the younger brother of the then Zamindar Hiranya Majumdar. The village where he took birth is known as Sri Krishnapura. So Prabhupada, actually I'm listening to Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj. He's now in Kashi and Ayodhya. He's taken the devotees to Kashi and Ayodhya. And so he's giving so much information about Mahaprabhu's travels, you know. So, so here, why Prabhupada is giving so many details. And so as he's describing this Varanasi, the temples that existed during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been demolished. Places lost. Like we read all about Prakashan and the Saraswati, this entire place is lost. Can't find it, So this is very valuable history. So this Chaitanya Charitamrita that Prabhupada has written is actually a history book, and you don't know when it come in use. This is real life. So this is in the 15th century. All this was happening. So the village where Raghunath Das Goswami took birth is known as Shri Krishnapur. So most probably the name has changed now. I will send the link for Maharaja's Yatra. I think this is history. At the same time, by hearing, we also visit those places, which is purifying for us. I never thought of going to Kashi, but Maharaj has gone to Kashi and is telling so many stories. So on the railway line between Calcutta and Burdwan is a station named Rishabhaga, now known as Adi Saptagram. Right, just see, Prabhupada is up to date. So this Rishabhaga is now known as Shri Adi Saptagram. And about 1.5 miles away is the village where the parental road Sri Raghunath Das Goswami was situated. So, Devahuti, please mute yourself before I mute you. Mute yourself. Okay. A temple of Shri Radha Govinda is still there. In front of the temple is a large open area, but no large hall for devotees to assemble. Just see how many detailed Prabhupada is given. In front of the temple is a large open area, but no large hall for devotees to assemble. A rich Calcutta gentleman named Hari Charan Ghosh, who resided in the Singla quarter, recently repaired the temple. The entire temple compound is surrounded by walls, and in a small room just to the side of the temple is a small platform on which Raghunath Das Goswami used to worship the deity. By the side of the temple is the dying river Saraswati. My God. See what Prabhupada has written here. By the side of the temple is the dying river Saraswati. Oh, this is from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He wrote this. So while he was living, that was the situation. So Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada appeared in 1986. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta in that time period. The forefathers of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami were all Vaishnavas and were very rich men. His spiritual master at home was Yadunandana Acharya. Although Raghunath Das was a family man, he had no attachment for his state and wife. Seeing his tendency to leave home, his father and uncle engaged special bodyguards to watch over him. but nevertheless he managed to escape their vigilance and went away to Jagannath Puri to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This incident took place in the year 1439, Shakabda, AD 1517. Raghunath Das Goswami compiled 3 books named Stavamala or Stavavali, Dan Charita, and Mukta Charita. So we can remember these names, Stavamala. I don't know whether anyone remembers, we had a beautiful program in our auditorium with Prashanta Mataji on this Stavamala. I think it's, if you go on our YouTube channel, you may find such beautiful songs. In Stavamala, Dan Charita, and Mukta Charita. He lived a long time, residing for most of his life at Radhakund. The place where Raghunath Das Goswami performed his devotional service still exists by Radhakund. He almost completely gave up eating, and therefore he was very skinny and of weak health. His only concern was to chant the holy name of the Lord. He gradually reduced his sleeping until he was almost not sleeping at all. It is said that his eyes were always full of tears. When Srivas Acharya went to see Raghunath Das Goswami, the Goswami blessed him by embracing him. Srinivas Acharya requested his blessings for preaching in Bengal, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami granted them. In the Gaur Ganuda Desh Dipika, it is stated that Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was formerly the gopi named Rasamanjari. Sometimes it is said that he's Rati Manjari. So this is about Raghunath Das Goswami. Very, very important personality in the lila of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Extremely important. All of them are important. But Raghunath, among the Sad Goswami, right? Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Yoga, Shri Jiva Gopalapu. So we are worshipping him actually in our Guru Parampara. All right, Anupama Madhvi, you like to read?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, done with Pranam. Text 92. Prabhu Samarpila Tanre Swarupe Rahate. Prabhura Gupta Seva Kaila Swarupera Sathe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, and glories to Srila Prabhupada. When Raghunath Das Goswami approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri, the Lord entrusted him to take care of Swarup Damodar. Entrusted him to the care of Swarup Damodar, his secretary. Thus they both engaged in the confidential service of the Lord. This confidential service was the personal care of the Lord. Swarup Damodar, acting as his secretary, attended to the Lord's baths, meal, rest and massages, and Raghunath Das Goswami assisted him. In effect, Raghunath Das Goswami acted as an assistant secretary of the Lord. Text 9.
So, yeah, 1 minute. So, this confidential. So now, when Raghunath Das Goswami approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord entrusted him to the care of Swarup Damodar. All right. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't take him personally, but gave him to Swarup Damodar. And Swarup Damodar was the secretary to the Lord's personal care. So what's the personal care? His bath, his meals, his rest, his massages. This is what a personal assistant, secretary, does for the spiritual master. So they take care of his bath, his meals, his rest, his massage. So Raghunath Das Goswami was assisting Swarup Damodar. So we remember this. Now go on.
Text 93. Sodashvatsara Kaila Antaranga Sevana Swarupera Antardhane Aila Vrindavana. He rendered confidential service to the Lord for 16 years at Jagannath Puri, and after the disappearance of both the Lord and Swarup Damodar, he left Jagannath Puri and went to Vrindavan. वृंदावन दुई भाईरा चरण देखिया, गोवर्धन त्याजी बा देहा भृगुपत करिया. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami intended to go to Vrindavan to see the lotus feet of Rupa and Sanatan and then give up his life by jumping from Govardhan Hill. Jumping from the top of Govardhan Hill is a system of suicide specially performed by saintly persons. After the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya and Swarup Damodar, Raghunath Das Goswami keenly felt separation from these two exalted personalities and therefore decided to give up his life by jumping from Govardhan Hill in Vrindavan. By doing so, however, he wanted to see the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, and before doing so, however, he wanted to see the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Text 95. Eta nishchaya kari aila vrindavane, ashi rupa sanatene vandila charane. Thus, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami came to Vrindavan, visited Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, and offered them his obeisances. तबे दुई भाई तनरे मरिता ना दीला, निज तृतीया भाई करे निकटा रखीला. These two brothers, however, did not allow him to die. They accepted him as the third brother and kept him in their company. महाप्रभुरा लीला यता बाहिरा अंतरा, दुई भाई तानरा मुखे शुने निरंतरा. Because Raghunath Das Goswami was an assistant to Sarup Damodar, he knew much about the external and internal features of the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Thus, the two brothers Rupa and Sanatan always used to hear of this from him. Anna jala tyaga kaila anya kathana, pala duitina matha karena bhakshana. Raghunath Das Goswami gradually gave up all food and drink, but a few drops of buttermilk.
Yes, Shenya, you can continue. 99.
Yes, of course, Hare Krishna. Sahasra Dandavat Kare Laya Lakshanama Dui Sahasra Vaishnavare Nitya Paranama. As a daily duty, he regularly offered 1,000 obeisances to the Lord, chanted at least 100,000 holy names, and offered obeisances to 2,000 Vaishnavas. Ratri Dina Radha Krishnera Manasa Sevana Prahareka Mahaprabhura Charita Kathana. Day and night he rendered service within his mind to Radha Krishna, and for 3 hours a day he discoursed about the character of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have many things to learn about bhajana or worship of the Lord by following in the footsteps of Raghunath Das Goswami. All the Goswamis engaged in such transcendental activities, as described by Srinivas Acharya in his poem about them. Krishnot Kirtana Gana Nartana Parau Premamritapo Nidhi. Following in the footsteps of Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami, one has to execute devotional service very strictly, specifically by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Tina Sandhya Radha Kunde Apatita Snana Vraja Vasi Vaishnave Kare Alinganamana. Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami took 3 baths daily in the Radhakund lake. As soon as he found a Vaishnava residing in Vrindavan, he would embrace him and give him all respect. Sartha Sapta Prahara Kare Bhaktira Sadhane Chari Danda Nidra Sehana Hekona Dine. He engaged himself in devotional service for more than 22.5 hours a day, and for less than 2 hours he slept, although on some days that also was not possible. Tanhara Sadhana Riti Shunite Chamatkara Sai Rupa Raghunatha Prabhu Ye Amara. I'm struck with wonder when I hear about the devotional service he executed. I accept Srila Rupa Goswami and Raghunatha Dasa Goswami as my guides. Srila Krishna Dasa Kaviraj Goswami accepted Raghunatha Dasa Goswami as his special guide. Therefore, at the end of every chapter, he says, Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asa Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Sometimes it is misunderstood that by using the word Raghunatha, he wanted to offer his respectful obeisances to Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, for it is sometimes stated that Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami was his initiating spiritual master. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami does not approve of this statement. He does not accept Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami as the spiritual master of Srila Krishna Dasa Kaviraj Goswami.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Mhm.
So, Indira Radha, you want to read? And 104.
Hare Krishna. Inhasta barayachi Hela Prabhura Milana Age Vishtariya Taha Kari Bhavarnana. I shall explain later very elaborately how all these devotees met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 105. Sri Gopala Bhatta Eka Shakha Sarvottama Rupa Sanatana Sange Yanra Prema Alapana. Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami, the 47th branch, was one of the great and exalted branches of the tree. He always engaged in discourses about love of Godhead in the company of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Purport by Shabhupa. Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami was the son of Venkata Bhatt, a resident of Sri Rangam. Gopal Bhatt formerly belonged to the disciplic succession of the Ramanuj Sampradaya, but later became part of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. In the year 1433, Sakabda, AD 1511, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring South India, he stayed for 4 months during the period of Chaturmasya at the house of Venkata Bhatt, who then got the opportunity to serve the Lord to his heart's content. Gopal Bhatt also got the opportunity to serve the Lord at this time. Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami was later initiated by his uncle, the great sannyasi Prabodhananda Saraswati. Both the father and the mother of Gopal Bhatt Goswami were extremely fortunate, for they dedicated their entire life to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They allowed Gopal Bhatt Goswami to go to Vrindavan, and they gave up their lives thinking of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was later informed that Gopal Bhatt Goswami had gone to Vrindavan and met Sri Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, he was very pleased, and he advised Sri Rupa and Sanatan to accept Gopal Bhatt Goswami. Out of his great affection for Gopal Bhatt Goswami, compiled the Vaishnav Smriti named Hari Bhakti Vilas and published it under the name under his name. Under the instruction of Srila Rupa and Sanatan, Gopal Bhatt Goswami installed one of the 7 principal deities of Vrindavan, the Radha Raman deity. The savage priests of the Radha Raman temple belonged to the Gaudiya Sampradaya. When Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami took permission from all the Vaishnavas, before writing Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gopal Bhatt Goswami also gave him his blessing, but he requested him not to mention his name in the book. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has mentioned Gopal Bhatt Goswami only very cautiously in one or two passages of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Jiva Goswami has written in the beginning of his Tattva Sandarbha, a devotee from southern India who was born of a Brahmin family and was a very intimate friend of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, has written a book that he has not compiled chronologically. Therefore, I, a tiny living entity known as Jiva, am trying to sort the events of the book chronologically, consulting the direction of great personalities like Madhavacharya, Peter Swami, Acharya, and other senior Vaishnavas in the disciplic succession. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Sandarbha, there are similar statements by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Gopal Bhatt Goswami compiled a book called Satkriya Shara Tipika. Editor Dev Hari Bhakti Vilas wrote a foreword to the Sat Sandarbha and a commentary on the Krishna Karnamrita and installed the Radharaman deity in Vrindavan. In the Gaura Ganush Desha Dipika 184, it is mentioned that his previous name in the pastimes of Lord Krishna was Ananga Manjari. Sometimes he is also said to have been an incarnation of Guna Manjari. Srinivas Acharya and Gopinath Pujari were two of his disciples.
So there's so much information here, and important information also, because this Hari Bhakti Vilas, like we are using these in our Vaishnava etiquette book, in our temple etiquette, and it's our guidebook. So this is very, very important. So again, I think all of us, including myself, we need to have pen and paper and rewrite, right? Point-wise, what they have done. It's not possible for us to, like remember all this unless we write it. Because we read, it's just like reading that it's like, it's not going in. So this exercise of taking pen and paper, like I have my book right now, I'm studying about the four Vaishnavacharyas. I put this book about the four Vaishnavacharyas, and this is my notebook, So I'm rewriting the book basically. I'm just taking the points from this, and it is matching here. It's all history, the Gaudiya Vaishnava history, the Acharyas. I've also joined a course, Sat Sandarbha, but it is going too fast. So I have to write my notes and then listen to the lecture. I'm reading Chaitanya Charitamrita with all of you. And I do intend to actually, like rewrite these purports. These long purports, which is very much required for all of us. So we'll examine this because this is a very, very important section. Who is Gopal Bhatta Goswami? Now we have read about Raghunath Das Goswami. So Raghunath Das Goswami, so he was a wealthy, very wealthy person. And so he left everything to join Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was a very rasik. Actually, he's said to be the Acharya for Gopinath, meaning the Prayojan. We have Sambandh, Abhiday, and Prayojan.
Okay.
So Sambandh, Acharya for Sambandh is Sanatan Goswami, and the deity is Madan Mohan. Then Acharya for Abhiday is who?
Rupa
Rupa
Goswami.
Goswami.
Goswami. Yes, Rupa Goswami. And his deity is
Govind Dev Ji.
Govinda. And then the Acharya for Prayojana is
Raghunath Das Ji Goswami.
Raghunath Das Goswami. And his deity is
Radha,
Radha,
Gopinath.
no,
Gopinath.
Gopinath, Gopinath.
Right? So this so I think all of you who have gone to Vrindavan, you have visited his Samadhi in Radhakund. Everybody has been, Devhuti, you've been to Vrindavan in Radhakund.
Yes,
All right, so you
Radha
have
Kunda.
seen very famous, very, very famous. This Samadhi is there. Always Kirtan is going on, and Radhakund is there, right? You walk down the step and you get into Radhakund. So now let's examine Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So everybody remembers who is Venkata Bhatt?
His
Who's
father.
Hmm?
Father, and Gopal Bhatt Goswami's father was Venkata Bhatt.
Who was he, Venkata Bhatt? Famous personality in Charitamrita. Who was he?
There was a pastime between Lord Chaitanya and him where Lord Chaitanya was telling that how even Lakshmi Devi, who was the worshipable goddess of Venkata Bhatt, actually wanted to enter Sri Vrindavan.
Yes. So Mahaprabhu, he was on tour in South India, and then the rainy season came, the Chaturmasya. So he stayed for 4 months. He stayed for 4 months in the house of Venkata Bhatt. So he was a resident of Sri Rangam. All right? He was a resident of Sri Rangam. I think we read again about Venkata Bhatt somewhere, forgotten. We've read too much. I think Venkata Bhatt accepted and surrendered to Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eventually. I've forgotten. So he was a resident of Sri Rangam. Now, what is special about Sri Rangam?
Sri Vaishnavas, that's the main temple of Sri Vaishnavas from Ramanujacharya temple.
Yes, so this Sri Rangam, actually I'm reading this book now. So do we know about the 4 Vaishnava Sampradaya? Who are they?
Yes, Mataji. Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, and Ramanujacharya. No.
Rudra Sampradaya.
There is Brahma Madhav Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya coming from Brahmaji. There is Rudra Sampradaya coming from Shivji. There is Sri Sampradaya coming from Lakshmi Devi. And there is Chatush Kumar Sampradaya, which is coming from the 4 Kumaras.
Yeah, and in between, who are the acharyas?
Sri Sampradaya is Ramanujacharya, and Kumar Sampradaya is Nimbakacharya, and Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya is Madhavacharya, and last is Rudra Sampradaya is
Vishnu Swami.
Yeah, Vishnu Swami. All right. So now, when I'm studying this book is written by Shri Bhakti Siddhanta. So these Acharya, Vishnu Swami and Nimbakaracharya, they are coming from very, very long time, from like, I think Vishnu Swami is coming just like on the border of Dwapar Yuga. You know, this Vishnu Swami. Then his whole sampradaya was coming. But actually, those sampradaya has become extinct. Even Nimbakaracharya, his sampradaya also has become extinct. But their philosophy are existing. All right. So the only surviving sampradaya among the 4 Vaishnava sampradaya are
the Gaudiya Sampradaya.
I
There's
said two Sampradaya.
Sri Sampradaya.
Sampradaya also.
Sri Sampradaya.
Which one? Shri Sampradaya,
Sampradaya.
Ramanujacharya, and
Gaudiya Vaishnava.
yeah, Madhvacharya. Right.
Madhvacharya.
So these two survive. Ramanujacharya's Sampradaya and Madhvacharya's Sampradaya. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared which Sampradaya? He adopted which Sampradaya?
Madhavacharya Sampradaya.
Madhvacharya, right? Mahaprabhu accepted the Sampradaya of Madhvacharya. Through who?
Ishwar Puri.
Ishwar Puri and
Madhvendra Puri.
Madhavendra Puri.
Some
Madhavendra Puri is the connecting point between Madhvacharya Sampradaya and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All right. Now, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he accepted a lot of the teachings of Ramanujacharya. So many things that is practiced in ISKCON is actually practiced by the Ramanujacharya Sampradaya. Like I read yesterday, Ramanujacharya. First thing, it was about his preaching. It's in Ramanujacharya. He took this vow. He took this vow that he will enlighten the living beings about the philosophy of Vaishnavism, meaning that the soul and super soul are different. Krishna and Bhagavan and Bhakta. And then the third thing that he said is that he will engage all these living beings in devotional service. So that's from Ramanujacharya, that we should know who we are, and we should preach, and we should engage in service. So this is from Ramanujacharya. These are the other things that he did. So a lot of the philosophy, so Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this Gaudiya Vaishnavism, he had put together the teachings of all the four Sampradaya, meaning Vishnu Swami, Nimbakacharya, Madhvacharya, and Ramanujacharya. That prominent in the practical sense is Ramanujacharya Sampradaya. So that's why they gel very nicely. Very nicely they were all together. It's very interesting to read this. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the son of Venkata Bhatta, right? From Srirangam in the line of Ramanujacharya. So Gopal Bhatta formerly belonged to the disciplic succession of the Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, but later became part of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. So in the year 1433, Shakabda, AD 1511, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was touring South India, he stayed for 4 months during the period of Chaturmasya in the house of Venkata Bhatta, who then got the opportunity to serve the Lord to his heart's content. Now, Gopal Bhatta, he was just a boy, also got the opportunity to serve the Lord at this time. So, see, that's how the children grew up. You know, they're small boys, but when the father is hosting a sannyasi, taking care of all his needs, so the sannyasi, because the sannyasi don't have houses. They live in the houses of householders. So, meaning they keep on moving. But during Chaturmasya, he stayed for 4 months. So, Gopal Bhatta, so he was a boy. So the children, they get the opportunity to serve the sannyasis, and that's how they change. They change their lives. They get trained. So Gopal Bhatta also got the opportunity to serve the Lord at this time. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami was later initiated by his uncle, the great sannyasi Prabodhananda Saraswati. So he's the disciple of Prabodhananda Saraswati. Now, Prabodhananda Saraswati, his Samadhi, he's famous, very famous Prabodhananda Saraswati. He's Rasika Vaishnava and he's a sold out devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Mataji, this is Prabodhananda Saraswati of Banaras, the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
No, he's the uncle. No.
That was Prakashananda Saraswati, I
That's
believe.
Prakashananda.
Yeah, Prakashananda. Be careful, don't mix them up. Huh? That's why I'm saying pen and paper. If you don't have your book and your paper, pen and paper, you will never be able to figure out who's who. Prabodhananda Saraswati, the uncle in the line of Sri Ramanujacharya, right? But this Prabodhananda Saraswati, he actually got connected with Gaudiya Vaishnavism. We have read about that somewhere. Can't remember. So his uncle got connected to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami took initiation from his uncle. So usually father doesn't give diksha to son, but looks like here uncle gave diksha to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Both the father and the mother of Gopal Bhatta Goswami were extremely fortunate, for they dedicated their entire lives to the service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, meaning Vankata Bhatt. They allowed Gopal Bhatta Goswami to go to Vrindavan and they gave up their lives thinking of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? So they became devotees of Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was later informed that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had gone to Vrindavan and met Shri Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, he was very pleased. And he advised Shri Rupa and Sanatana to accept Gopal Bhatta Goswami as their younger brother and take care of him. So again, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, who are they?
Sanatan, Gopal, Bhatt,
Sanatan,
Gopal.
Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath.
Two
Rup Sanatan,
Raghunath.
Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatt
Rup
Goswami.
Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jiva Goswami.
Jiva Goswami.
Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami.
How many are there?
Rup Sanatan,
Sanatan,
Sri Jiva
Jiva,
Gopal Bhatt
Bhatt
Goswami,
Goswami,
Raghunath Das,
Raghunath Das,
Raghunath
and
Bhatt.
Raghunath Bhatt.
Yes. Raghunath Bhatt. Raghunath, you go, right? Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Yugo, meaning the two Raghunaths. One is Raghunath Das and the other one is Raghunath
Not Bhatt.
All right, so get your meditation straight. All right, you should know who is who. And we are just used to singing the song without, catching who is who. So we should read the translations of these songs. So now, where are we? Sri Sanatan Goswami, out of his great affection for Gopal Bhatta Goswami, compiled a Vaishnav Smriti named Hari Bhakti Vilas and published it under his name. So this Hari Bhakti Vilas was written by whom?
Gopal Bhatt Goswami.
Oh God. Read again.
Goswami Mataji, Hari Bhakti Vilas.
By who?
Sanatan Goswami.
Sanatan Goswami. Hari Bhakti Vilas. Vaishnava Smriti. Vaishnava Smriti meaning all the system that we follow in ISKCON, our Diksha, chanting 16 rounds or however many rounds, the Kanti Mala, the Japa Mala, which type of beads we are using, our Mangalarti, our Guru Puja, the Dakshina system, each and everything, these are Vaishnava Smriti. I mean, even the cloth that you wear, all right? This is also Vaishnav Smriti. So this is given in Hari Bhakti Vilas. But what did Sanatan Goswami do? With this Hari Bhakti Vilas?
He published it under the name of Gopal Bhatt.
Yes, right. He published this. See, I think most of you have done this course Vaishnava etiquette, right? Bhakti Chandra Swami, he has this book, but Brihad Bhagavad Maharaj also. We have this book, Vaishnava etiquette. And there, the very introduction speaks about this Hari Bhakti Vilas. And I think that's a devotion also. So you should know what we are talking about. See, we cannot just be like Hindus who don't know anything about our religion. Ritual without really knowing and understanding what's going on, who's saying what. So here you're finding the very source of each and every ritual that we perform in ISKCON. So it's coming from Hari Bhakti Vilas, which is the Vaishnava Smriti. So it was written by Sanatan Goswami, and Sanatan Goswami, he took from many of the scriptures and he compiled that Hari Bhakti Vilas. So he says he have compilation, compiled the Vaishnava Smriti. Because they were the Smarta Brahmanas, they had their own rules and regulations. So Sanatan Goswami, he had to take something and make it fit for the Vaishnavas. For example, our Viva Samskar, our all the vidhis, all the different samskar that we have to follow. Shrad ceremony, etc., etc. So from where we will get it? So Hari Bhakti Vilas, compiled by Sanatan Goswami, gives all the detail. Under the instruction of Srila Rupa and Sanatan, Gopal Bhatta Goswami installed one of the 7 principal deities of Vrindavan, the Radha Raman deity. The Sevaites, priests of the Radha Raman temple, belong to the Gaudiya Sampradaya. All right. So this is very important again. Everybody knows Radha Raman deities?
Yes.
Amrita Radhe, you like to post in our group a picture of Radha Raman, who is very
Sure,
famous.
Mataji. Sure,
Right.
Mataji.
When Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami took permission from all the Vaishnavas before writing Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gopal Bhatta Goswami also gave him his blessings. But he requested him not to mention his name in the book. All right. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami, we don't know much about him. So he says, yes, please you compile this biography of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he said, but don't mention my name. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has mentioned Gopal Bhatta Goswami only very cautiously in 1 or 2 passages of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Jeev Goswami has written in the beginning of his Tattva Sandarbha. Now, Tattva Sandarbha is also a very important book to study. So he's speaking about Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So what he wrote, a devotee from southern India who was born of a Brahmana family and was a very intimate friend of Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, has written a book that he has not compiled chronologically. Therefore, I, a tiny living entity known as Jeev, meaning Jeev Goswami, I'm trying to assort the events of the book chronologically, consulting the direction of great personalities like Madhvacharya, Sridhar Swami, Ramanujacharya, and other senior Vaishnavas in the disciplic succession. So that Tattva Sandarbha actually was a compilation by Gopal Bhatta Goswami, but he didn't put it in a very systematic, just like note forms. So Jiva Goswami again took the working of Gopal Bhatta Goswami and put it in a chronological sense. So this Sandarbha. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Sandarbha, there are similar statements by Srila Jiva Goswami. Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami compiled a book called Kshatriya Sar Dipika, edited the Hari Bhakti Vilas, wrote a foreword to the Sat Sandarbha and a commentary on the Krishna Parnamrita, and installed the Radha Raman deity in Vrindavan. So just see all his work. So that's why God. Who has sung Sad Goswami Ashtakam? Who wrote it?
Srinivas Acharya.
Srinivas Acharya, he wrote this. So that's why you find whatever glorification is there by the Sad Goswamis. So this is what they are. Today we exist. Prabhupada, the Guru Parampara, and our old spiritual masters. Everybody exists because of the guidance and the compilation of all the books of the Goswamis. All right. So that was quite intense. So should we stop here?
Yeah, please.
We stop here. Yeah, it's too much. I know it's too much.
Digest.
Yeah.
Mataji,
So-
one.
Yes.
Mataji, you mentioned earlier also in today's class also that we must write down with pen and paper. Can you just share your experience that why you do it? Of course, it's very obvious, but what's the benefit?
Then you remember. Then you remember. Like you won't mix up Prabodhanam Saraswati with Prakashananda Saraswati. Plain and simple. Because the memory, it cannot capture. By reading, it cannot capture. The camera from the mind, is not sufficiently strong to capture the images, the sound. Actually, this is sound, right? It is sound, but it gets somewhere in the memory. We are reading with the eyes, so when you rewrite, and don't use computer. I mean, I've done that for a long time, and then when I just can't stand writing in the computer, I just take pen and paper, and I just write, Yes, Samrita.
Mataji, it may not sound like a very good question, but I'm still asking. Is it important to remember facts? Why can't we just uh, absorb the mood of the acharyas and rectify our behavior and, constantly read and meditate? Or is it important to remember facts?
Oh, these facts. Don't you find it interesting or you find it boring?
No, they are very interesting, and I, I feel at this point in time that I'm kind of satisfied with whatever I can recollect and keep in my head. And I can maybe visit this again if I need a reference or something. Or is it important to maybe take down notes and so?
Yes, because then you're more absorbed. Then you are more in touch with their personalities. Because you're praying to them. There's such 6 Goswamis. You're praying to them. We don't, it's not that by imagination we go back home, back to Godhead. There is a path. There is a pathway. And these acharyas are our pathway. And each and every one of them, we are learning something from them. So therefore, we need to know who they are. They're not just a list of names in history. These are real personalities who exist beyond our material world. So to know them, understand who they are, understand the philosophy, the history. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself can just be a fictitious personality after, some years, just like Krishna has become a fictitious personality after, 5,000 years. Isn't it? Don't people say, yes, it's all mythology, your Krishna's mythology, your Rama is mythology, the fictitious personalities, right? So now this is like within our experience. And also it gives authority to Prabhupada's teaching, that Prabhupada didn't just invent a method. Like when I studied Prabhupada Lilamrita, when I studied actually the biography of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, compiled by His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami, I read only one book, one volume. I was like amazed because, oh my God, Prabhupada has just copy and paste. Whatever he has executed in ISKCON, he has copied and pasted from Bhaktisiddhanta. So Prabhupada didn't invent anything. And that's why Srila Prabhupada kept saying, do not change. Whatever I have given, do not change. If you start changing little bit here and there, you'll end up with nothing. So it is a very precise science. And also as we go off track, we are no longer on the pathway back home after God. We have to come back. So therefore, knowing these acharyas, like Hari Bhakti Vilas, as I just said, like they will say, like people say, yeah, according to our belief, this is how we do it. And according to your belief, how do you do it? This is how when people meet, they talk, right? So you say, according to your Hare Krishna people,
You're frozen. Didi.
Hare Krishna.
No, come.
Giving Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha.
Passive.
Patitana pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo.
Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Haribol.
I don't know where they want to go. The scientists need to know the path, right? Isn't it? If they don't know the path, they'll end up somewhere else. Or they'll crash. So this is a machine. Sending off a machine. I heard there's one satellite that's floating up in the sky and they're not able, there are two people up there in the satellite. I was the kids are coming in the news. I don't know whether they're able to rescue those people from they're just floating outside our Earth in some satellite. I don't know for what reason they are not able to come back on Earth. Can you imagine? This is a mechanical process, machine that they're sending up in the sky, and living beings are up there outside the orbit of the Earth. Now, we are aiming Goloka Vrindavan, we are aiming Vaikuntha Dham. We need to know precisely, exactly the path, step by step. Can we do it by ourselves? No. It's those acharyas who are doing it for us. So that's the importance. These are not detailed. These are the rope of the Guru Parampara that we are grabbing to come out. Meaning the rope of the Guru Parampara, then the process that they have given. And recognizing whether you're reaching the goal or you're in Maya. Oh my God, this is, it is like, it's not a small thing. It's not a small thing at all. Somehow, as people of Kali Yuga, we are so fortunate, even though we are not at all qualified. But we are reading about this Rahasya. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita is sufficient, isn't it? Or should we go any deeper? or should we go higher? What do you think, Amrita Radhe?
Mataji agreed completely. Yes. So basically, we should take shelter of the acharyas, and we'll be able to take shelter only if we know about them and so that we can grab the ropes that they're sending to us. So I get that point. Thank you, Mataji.
All right, so 100 marks, tick mark. All right. Yes. Not just reading, and everything's going over my head. It's like, it's like scanning with our eyes and not going into our brain and heart and not touching us. Then we miss the boat back home, back to Godhead. I enjoyed reading this with all of you, going sentence by sentence, and because I really forget. But I'm remembering because I've been reading, hearing, and then now when we are getting the opportunity, Prabhupada is writing the same thing again, then like I'm just holding it, trying to hold it in myself, my consciousness.
Okay.
All right.
Next week
Thank
you're
you.
not going to be here, no?
Sorry, yeah. So now for 1 month, we are going to be on.
You're going to Vrindavan, right?
Yes, Vrindavan. Right. Everybody will be going to Vrindavan, I guess, one by one. All of us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not
Hare
this
Krishna.
time. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
thank you. I will miss you.
Hare
Bol.
Krishna. Yeah. In November, we'll start again. All right.
Okay.
Hare
See you in November. Hare Krishna. Bye.